Did you ever wonder how this quality department came into the picture first? Whatever you are doing across teams, when more than one person is there, how do you ensure quality? Years back, quality was introduced as an organization design, as a villain. Everybody is doing their production. Those days we said it's a seller's market. Everybody wanted to up whatever they could give. Quality department, they said, of this rejection cannot go. And they were very strict. They had a lot of power because it was said quality will report to the business head, not to the production head. Why? Production head would say, okay, let it go. This is a borderline case. So quality department was said to have more power and only manufacture what quality says is clear to go. Over years, the names changed, QC, QA, so many things. But what actually happened was quality became innate. In all the leading industries and the leading players, even the production head, he talked quality. I have produced this much, X amount. It doesn't say what was the rejection because whatever has been produced is of quality. And that mattered. So this villain, so-called villain, was actually the person of change in heart, the change in focus. And that made the difference. That has made even countries grow from a level where they are just there in the global market to somewhere here. When they breathe, talk, everybody senses something wrong in quality. Don't take risk. Something can be introduced to make quality a promise we can live by. Do that. I'll give an example. Why did I say teams? We say, okay, there are 5 processes. I'll talk about a company. I was working in the auto component sector in a Japanese unit, and the plant was in losses since about 6 years since inception. You would think that, okay, maybe technology was a gap. No, it had 2 joint ventures with Japanese. Best of the infrastructure, best of the technology. Since it was a painted part for 4-wheelers, the quality had to be really good. So the equipment which they had, the paint shop which they had, everything was a class apart. And they were supplying to the leaders. Toyota, Maruti, those days, these were big names. Honda, General, there's so many of them. But although they had a Japanese person also in the team managing, something was not okay. And you know what happens and what could possibly happen. If a plant is not making profit and the other group companies are making profit, the importance of the employees and the team starts going down. And gradually, we give it less focus. The employees feel left out. They don't have the basics of privileges. And they get disengaged. And even if everybody says, okay, 100%, we will do okay, say 90%. 5 departments, where is something is incoming, then say it gets into molding for plastic part, then it gets into say surface finishing, then it gets into the paint shop, then it goes for assembly, and it gets packed and sold. Everybody says we will do 90% for sure. The first person has done 90. The second department, it comes to 90% again. But 90% of 90% is 81%. They were both doing 10% only, but what the company got was 81%. Now it goes to the next department. From molding to the paint shop, again 90%. Then there is a precursor to that. So we said, let us surface finish it. But they are also doing 90%. By the time it goes out of paint shop, it is 90% of 90% of 90% of 90%. And we are at 65%. One third gone. If I take you to the exact data, even in just the paint shop, which was state of the art, had to be, because they were supplying to four-wheelers in premium segment, the brands which matter. The benchmark, the best practice across the joint venture plants across the world was 36% rework was allowed. That a painted part has come and there is suppose a small speck on it. It has to get reworked. So 36% of the output would get inside and get reworked. Again come, and this could happen 3 times. Now just imagine one third of the production within one department is getting lost. So I use very basic principle that people have to be engaged. And when I saw the plant, engagement was not that good. Worst, it was getting lured by the union outside. And that is it was a belt prone to unions, the complete area where Marathi was there. And I had no IR background and I did not need that, because what I have here, I knew was good enough. I started to go to the factory as early as possible at the shift timing and started working at the first area where I found the union thinking was very high. Normally, when we hear the word union, some positive, negative things come. What I also get it, that these people actually mean trust. The only thing is that people go outside to these people because internally perhaps they did not get what they wanted. And the ones inside who are really in favor of these, they are the right influencers, because the rest of the team depends on their word. They trust what they say. In this particular plant, this was the most of the people who were said to be the leaders were in an enclosed huge area which was called more for surface preparation. It's like a huge plastic part which gets painted and fitted onto the cars. And before they paint, the surface has to be, it's a plastic molded component, surface has to be prepared. It has to be done really diligently. And when I went there, I had joined recently, so they did not know what the agenda was. And I just went in curiosity. I would go early morning when their shift would start, not at the general shift times. And I started looking around from the first, second, third, fourth, 10th operation. And I saw that there was a lot of effort. They would do the sanding. Sometimes the paper with they did the sanding, there was a lot of effort. When would they replace? If suppose they replaced late, the effort would be more and the quality would be less. And there was a lot of dust in the atmosphere because of this continuous scraping of the surface. Within few weeks, like 3 or 4 weeks, I had started to take their opinions. Initially one by one, then across tables, then as a team. Whatever they would say, I treated as genuine, and by next 1 or 2 or 3 days, I would get it deployed. They started seeing the results for improving their work environment with their engagement. And after a month, they would receptively look at me. Yes. And there was a respect, mutual respect for both sides. You know how this made a difference. Our paint shop, the material from here would get inside the paint shop, and the global target across all joint venture plants was 36%. For rework, ours was 33% more, 39%. It was not that 3% which was the culprit. Something else was there and something kept hitting. Why so much? And when I started to work with these people, I got so many tips. across departments, from the molding department, from these people, the people who were working on the consumables. It was like answers was floating all around. We just had to ask the right question. Then another thing came up. We were doing rejection for quality of the final product. At internal level, whatever was incoming. I said, what about the skill? We were monitoring the skill of these people. That if suppose 5 pieces of rejected are there, how many could actually identify these 5 out of say 100 and actually label what defect was and how it occurred? These people came with even a smarter idea, indicating, they said, whatever is rejected, give it back to us. We will see, because we are all doing a visual check. Maybe we can do something. And we started doing a skill enhancement using their fingers, touch, their eyes. And soon, can you imagine? We reduced from 39% to 1.3, 13%, which had never been achieved ever. There were lots and lots of things which we did inside the paint shop, inside this, but the only differentiator was the engagement of these people, the workmen, the supervisors, and the area in charges. When they worked together, they gave their ideas and we worked on it. Just imagine, 39 to 1.3, the impact this had on the quality, it was phenomenal. Impact it, which had the increased capacity being available, which was trapped. Just imagine the impact, because everybody was now living their role. That not only touches our hearts, it touched our profit line in the right manner. Just imagine if this is culture, or this is ownership, or we are owning, embracing everybody in the team. What was earlier said that maybe we need a robotic paint shop. No, we just needed to have these people engaged. We engaged, we went beyond even further. We found at one stage, even backward, there was a molding machine. It was again imported, huge and very expensive. And it had a circuit by which things could not have failed. These were being worked on by supervisors, and we could see the differences amongst the supervisors. And something in the metrics did not click. I would see that, okay, they would say 5% has been reworked. We could take the rejected part, put it back into the machine, and it would give the part again. But that 5% capacity is lost. And sometimes when you reprocess the material, the chances of the quality getting bad are higher. But what I realized was, if I could imagine that after every 1 minute, one part would come, after 1 minute, 60 parts should come. That was not happening. Something was not okay. I interacted with the machine supplier. It was through the joint venture partner. I requested them if they could just send somebody over. And they complied. We had never asked them for the last 6 years. They had just given the handover. Maintenance was being done. When I discussed on these metrics and our observations, the features were inside the machine. We had forgotten. And by that, we actually knew what was a rework, and we actually helped the supervisors on working with the parameters to reduce it. And that worked. It was a huge impact on the throughput and again on the process cost. Now imagine two major areas which were contributing. I will not talk about the third because the similar things we did there. At the end, our plant within 6 to 7 months was running profitably after 6 years of losses. The story doesn't end here. We had a paint shop in South through which we were doing job work, and with it, that part would come to us, we would fit and give to our customer. We thought that it's a technical problem at that paint shop. Having done this successfully here, I engaged with the teams over there. It did not take maybe one-fourth the time with their team. The intention was always to give the right part. But when we worked with them on the findings we had, in that plant also, we got what we wanted. Just imagine the benchmark at the global level amongst the joint venture partners using the observation, engagement of the people, and not getting fooled by the metrics which were being shown, which were being compared, and not following what is given as a rule that this is like this. So my thinking is, if you find a rusted lock, there must be a key, open it. If things have not changed over a period of time like a rusted lock, there is definitely a treasure inside. In the beginning, maybe that was okay, but as we go better and better, you go to a gym, your muscles get better. You start doing yoga, your flexibility gets better. If this is not happening at work, something is not okay. Break the locks, and you will find a freedom for the people who are working, for happiness, for engagement. And this employee engagement is one of the keys. When work deployed with the systems and clarity, you will get wonders in profits, the way we did in this plant. Think what is happening in your work area, not only production, everywhere. If there is a rusted lock, find the key, challenge it, do whatever it takes to smoothen it, and you will find wonders once the lock opens. Thank you.